Live for Central Florida, this is News Channel 2 Night Beat.
The Night Beat begins now. Spring breakers pause to remember their fellow students shot down while on vacation in Daytona Beach. Flowers pour into Scotland as a tribute to the young victims of a bloody massacre. And find out if the new rash of dead manatees could be an epidemic in the making. Good evening, I'm Tina Douglas. Lisa is off tonight, leading the news on the Night Beat. An arrest tonight in the cold-blooded killing of a Canadian tourist on spring break in Daytona Beach. Mark Fike was gunned down this weekend while he was at a payphone talking to his mom. A group of teenagers approached him and demanded his wallet and then opened fire. Early today, 18-year-old Donald Shoup surrendered to police in Ormond Beach, claiming he shot Fike. As Ed Lascos reports on the Night Beat, spring breakers took time out today to remember Mark Fike.
Will you bow with me in prayer?
A prayer break during spring break.
Help us try to understand that, Lord, because right now our hearts are so filled with anger and rage.
And with sadness, too, as they remember one of their own, 18-year-old Mark Fike, the latest victim of street violence.
Mrs. Fike, she asked that we thank God for the years they had with their wonderful son. And she adds, and he was a wonderful son.
It could have been me. It could have been anyone. It was just the night before. Last night we were walking down there, the same place.
And a few blocks away, another vigil. A quiet one. This is where it happened early Saturday. Fike on the phone talking to his mother when he shot and killed during a robbery attempt. And now police think they have the shooter, 18-year-old Donald Shoup of Ormond Beach. He's charged with murder one. Some talked but wanted to stay in the shadows.
I really didn't expect that he would do something like that. But
surprising?
Yes, it is.
Others, like Shoup's family, wanted to stay silent. But here, the only silence came for someone these spring breakers never knew, and now will never forget.
Please pray for the Fike family.
And there's also a prayer being offered for the justice system, too. Investigators say they are still questioning 3 other suspects, juveniles, and they say more arrests may come before the case is closed. In Daytona Beach, on the Night Beat, Ed Lascos, News Channel 2.
The students who were with Fike in Daytona Beach returned home from their spring break today. Their memories of this youthful tradition filled with sadness. Fike was one of 40 students who were in Daytona Beach with 18-year-old Mark Fike for the week-long springtime ritual. Fellow students will attend a special assembly in his memory tomorrow. Counselors will be there to help them deal with their grief. Stay with News Channel 2 as we continue to bring you the latest on the spring break tragedy and what it means to the Florida tourism industry. Gunmen attacked 2 exclusive southwest Orange County neighborhoods this weekend. One suspect is accused of a home invasion, the other sexual assault. Orange County investigators are trying to determine if the 2 crimes are related. Trey Thomas is on the Night Beat.
Some find it hard to believe that a 23-year-old woman was sexually assaulted at this serene setting. You see, the exclusive South Bay subdivision is one of the neighboring backdrops to the Bay Hill Invitational Golf Tournament. The victim was confronted with a semi-automatic handgun at her front door. Eventually, the gunman led her to this retention pond, 50 feet from her home, where sheriff's investigators say she was attacked. It's stories like this that make Tanya Finnick take precautions.
I just don't go dark places alone. You know, I don't usually go out in the evening by myself. You know, just common sense kinds of things.
An hour and 15 minutes later, a gunman fitting a similar description broke into 23-year-old Conan Moore's home here at Cypress Point subdivision. We can't show you where the robbery took place because we were stopped by a security guard. You see, Cypress Point is a guarded and gated community. That's why the folks who live here are concerned that someone was able to get inside and rob one of their neighbors.
It does concern me, certainly, but there's no way to know whether he actually got through the gate. Certainly he could have come over a wall. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get access. But yeah, it does concern me tremendously. But I don't know that it's a reflection on the security guard himself or anybody that works there, of course. So.
Trey Thomas, News Channel 2.
Sheriff's deputies aren't ruling out the possibility that one gunman made both attacks. The victims gave similar descriptions of their attackers, and both were bound and gagged by the gunman. The search for a missing Oviedo woman in Florida waters turned up nothing. The Coast Guard spent much of the weekend looking for 28-year-old Shula Hervish. She disappeared while on a pleasure cruise with her husband Friday. News Channel 2's Ezra Marcus is on the Night Beat with the details.
For much of Saturday and most of Sunday, the Coast Guard vigilantly searched Florida's coast, looking for signs of life. But it was all in vain. Crews aboard 5 boats and 2 helicopters found no trace of Shula Hervish. Her husband Peter told authorities he last saw her around 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon, sitting on the bow of the couple's pleasure cruiser, the Susie Q. Hervish told the Coast Guard he then went aft to work on the boat's engines.
He wasn't feeling well, so he thought that she had went down below, and last time he had seen her was around the Vero Beach area. And when he came to the Port Canaveral area, he realized that she wasn't on board.
And that, according to the Coast Guard, was nearly 2.5 hours later. The Susie Q was bound for Port Canaveral from Fort Pierce, cruising 3 to 5 nautical miles offshore. The search and rescue area is roughly 600 square miles, a lot of water to cover with very few clues to go on. And at this point, it's not clear how the woman went into the water. The Brevard County Sheriff's Department is conducting an investigation, as is the FBI, because the incident occurred in international waters here.
Ezra, has the Coast Guard tonight been called off the search?
They called off the search at 5:30 this evening, but we're told that they will resume it tomorrow if they get some kind of sign that she might be alive.
It's a lot of area to cover, I guess.
Yeah, it really is. 600 square miles is a huge area to cover, and they only have a limited number of boats and helicopters to do it with.
All right, thanks a lot, Ezra. A terrible crash at sea. A seaplane goes down just a few feet from shore moments after takeoff. It happened in Key West. 4 people, including the pilot, were killed. Carlos Harrison is on the night beat in Key West.
The Key West seaplane was taking off at about 12:30 this afternoon when it veered out of control and slammed into the water just feet from busy Roosevelt Boulevard. That's close to the spot where A1A first comes into Key West. Witnesses said the 6-seater Cessna 206 tilted fiercely as it went down, its left wing dipping toward the water before it crashed. Then it flipped as it hit the water, ending with its nose and cockpit submerged in the shallow depths of Sigsbee Basin between Key West and Stock Island.
Earlier today, we had a seaplane. Apparently, at this time, the information we have was attempting to take off, possibly taking some evasive actions, was unable to get up, and the plane flipped.
5 members of the Blackburn family from Charleston, South Carolina were aboard. Father Lynn Blackburn died immediately, along with the plane's pilot. Mother Pamela died moments later, along with 6-year-old John and 3-year-old Martha. Carlos Harrison for NBC News.
Another child on board, 10-year-old Matthew, was rushed to a Miami hospital. No word on what caused the crash. The number of manatee deaths increases, 7 more this weekend and counting in southwest Florida. Scientists are trying to figure out what's killing the giant mammal. They set up a makeshift lab at a wildlife refuge on Sanibel Island. The latest body count is 51 in 12 days. Biologists speculate a form of pneumonia is killing the sea cows. Tissue samples are being sent around the country for testing. The launch of the shuttle Atlantis is set to launch on Thursday, right on schedule. The astronauts will arrive at KSC around midnight tonight, with the countdown beginning at 2 a.m. Monday morning. Liftoff of Atlantis is set for 3:35 Thursday morning. Among the highlights of the scheduled 9-day mission is the shuttle's docking with the Russian space station Mir. As always, we'll have live coverage of the launch right here on News Channel 2. Hospital stays highlight the importance of doctor-patient trust. But what about the hospital's equipment? Coming up on the Night Beat, find out how a horrible mishap turned deadly. Cries of protest over a controversial shop in South Carolina. We'll show you what has these residents seeing red. And the sky's the limit for this little boy. He earns his wings in record-breaking flight.
We're out of here. No, please keep your hands in the cart. We'll come back for that later. That one needs batteries. You're gonna get Daddy in trouble. Excuse me? No, that one definitely has too many parts. We gotta go.
Adventure is just a heartbeat away at Busch Gardens.
Feel your heartbeat. Beat, 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 beat. Beat strong, 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 strong. Your heartbeat strong. Ride the rhythm
Kumba,
of the wind.
land of the dragon.
Feel the freedom beat inside you forever.
Wild things.
Music, adventure, and ecstasy. Roaming free on the Serengeti.
Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay. Let the adventure begin.
Before they made it to an arena football game, Paul McGowan bench pressed 750,000 pounds. Perky Walls caught 40,000 passes, and Barry Wagner ran 35,000 yards. All you've got to do is make one phone call. Orlando Predators. Take your senses to the extreme.
Introducing the elegant compact Buick.
Baby, I'm yours.
The all-new Skylark.
And I'll be yours until the stars fall from the sky.
Feel secure with every imaginable safety feature and free roadside assistance. Choose 4/8 financing or 500 cash.
Baby, I'm yours.
Make Skylark yours.
Today, all of Britain bowed in a moment of silence for 5- and 6-year-olds gunned down at school last Wednesday in a small town in Scotland. Queen Elizabeth offered comfort to the families and the children who survived. Kevin Tibbles reports from Dunblane, Scotland.
At 9:30 this morning, all of Dunblane fell silent to mourn the 16 children and their teacher shot dead in their school at precisely the same time last Wednesday morning. And as Dunblane stood still, so did much of Great Britain. In Britain, this is Mother's Day. The murdered children and their families should have been coming to the Dunblane Cathedral to celebrate. Instead, Reverend Colin McIntosh tried his best to console.
Never have I seen such an outpouring of speechless, silent love as I have in these last 4 days.
Then Queen Elizabeth arrived. She visited the primary school and stopped to talk to as many people as she could. She met with 11-year-old Craig McAlpine Patterson, who survived by hiding under his desk as a gunman stalked his schoolmates.
She said that it was very lucky and had a lucky escape.
Floral tributes from around the world, thousands of them, now carpet the street for a half a mile in front of the primary school. These flowers come with messages. From a child, all I can say is why. From an adult, good night, little angels. And perhaps the sentiments of everyone, may God take better care of you than this world ever can. Kevin Tibbles, NBC News, Dunblane, Scotland.
Tomorrow, the flowers will be taken into the school's gymnasium where the shootings took place. Afterward, kids will be allowed inside. People are hoping this will help the healing process and let children know the school is a safe place. A medical mishap with deadly consequences in Texas that tops our look around the nation tonight. 3 patients have died at a Temple, Texas Veterans Hospital, reportedly after being given contaminated oxygen. A newspaper there says the hospital's oxygen system was switched to equipment provided by a new contractor this week. Within minutes, workers noticed a strange odor and quickly shut the system down. Autopsies will be performed to determine the exact cause of death. A massive carbon monoxide leak forced hundreds to evacuate an ice hockey rink in Washington State. It happened at the Highland Ice Arena in Shoreline. Officials say an ice smoothing machine malfunctioned, sending the fumes inside the rink. Almost 400 people were evacuated. Dozens were taken to hospitals, complaining of dizziness, nausea, and shortness of breath. The ice rink opened today after it was fumigated overnight. A loud and boisterous protest this weekend at the so-called Redneck Shop in South Carolina. Protesters carried a clear message to shut down the store that specializes in KKK merchandise. There were also those who believe the store's owner has the right to sell what he wants. The luck of the Irish shines down on the homeland. Coming up on the Night Beat, we'll take you to the peaceful celebrations on the Emerald Isle. And here at home, a celebration that's sure to get your Irish eyes a-smiling.
As long as I've lived in Florida, I've never seen anything like Mercury Madness. We're talking prime time, get off the pine savings time. Super low financing or $32.50 in total savings on Grand Marquis, Florida's best-selling full-sized car. The ultimate road trip vehicle. You're going to love the coast-to-coast comfort all the way to the bank, baby. Stop imagining and start saving.
Imagine yourself in a Mercury now.
Imagine that, baby.
Gotta give the guests more time to have fun. This'll be easy. I'll just change the clock.
The Magic Kingdom is now open to 11 o'clock on weekends. Announcing Magic Kingdom Late Nights with special performances of Spectral Magic and Fantasy in the Sky fireworks. The fun lasts to 11 o'clock this Friday and Saturday. Magic Kingdom Late Nights, every Friday and Saturday through April 13th.
Hi, I'm Bob from FPL. We're here with Mike Clausen at the University of Miami Marine campus. Tell us a little bit about how you decided to overhaul your energy use.
Obviously, if we can reduce energy, that's better for all of us.
FPL did a lot of work for us. We've got incentives for the lighting program, for our chiller replacement. FPL was involved in